What's good, YouTube? This your man Spill Dog. I was watching I watched the fight Canelo had with that guy Skull again last night, and I would have to say Skull was running. That wasn't necessarily boxing. What he did, he pretty much ran. But watching that fight with Skull, it made me think about because when you look at the fight between Bud and Canelo that's coming up, if you just look at everything on paper, it's similar to what a lot of us, me included, didn't do when he fought Earl Spence. When you look at everything on paper, as far as uh, who's been the busier fighter, what has been Canelo, who's you know who's the A side, that's clearly Canelo in this fight. Have there been any, like when Floyd fought Canelo, he fought him at a catch weight. They not giving Bud any, it's really just putting Crawford at a complete disadvantage going into the fight as far as the weight. Now it look like they finna switch the ring up on him. Uh, just him having to come up two divisions to get the fight. You know, Canelo getting the lion's share of the money, which I guess that's the way it should be because he is the boxing cash cow right now. And I thought about something though, because like I said, if you look at everything on paper, Canelo's fought better fighters, bigger fighters, been fighting at this division a lot longer than Terrence Crawford. So everything lines up for Canelo. Now, there's only one thing that can really change all that. You know, although Bud was the fresher fighter when he fought Spence, although Bud had been the busier fighter as far as, active and having a tune up before the fight and, kind of, and things of that nature. Even if you set all that aside, it was clear that Terrence Crawford was just a more complete fighter than Earl Spence. That's what I saw. I saw a fighter that was able to do whatever needed to be done, or I know was able to do, and come at Earl pretty much any way he needed to. And Earl seemed like he had one dimension that he had been successful with for a long time, and it just seemed like it wasn't a plan B for him to fall back on if plan A didn't work. And is Crawford uh, clearly a better fighter than Canelo? That's really what it's going to come down to because that could make now. Because if that's the case, that's enough to make the difference. I had never really thought about it in those in that term, and what if Crawford is just that much better a better boxer than Canelo like he was Earl Spence? And if that be the case, the size won't matter. I don't know if that's the truth or not. I don't think I could know that until they fought. Only reason why is because uh, Canelo been fighting much bigger fighters. The fight with Charlo, you know, that that I think that's the fight that gave Bud confidence, thinking that he may be able to pull this off when he saw Charlo go 12 rounds. And really, had he not been so defensively uh cautious, it was spots that Charlo could have probably got off. But at the same time, if you couldn't hurt Canelo, he probably did the right thing in covering up because it ain't gonna, even if you get them good shots off, if they don't have the effect that you need them to have, you open yourself up for big shots coming back. And if you got a bigger puncher coming back, you may want to be a little bit more gun shy in there. So that's really I think that's what it'll come down to. Is Crawford, you know, levels above, or a level or so above Canelo as far as straight skills. that I can't say that I can't say that he is or that he is not. That's the part that we probably won't be able to tell until you get in the ring. I think Bud is a more complete fighter once again than Canelo. I think Bud footwork is next level, and that's where Canelo is. He real slow. He got real heavy feet. So will that be enough? Bud using his feet and his legs. I heard Shane Mosley say Bud leg shot. I really haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. As a matter of fact, I've just seen him as he's gotten older. It seems like his power. He's like he's been punching harder since he's been in the welterweight division, and he's been having to use his legs a lot less. I think it ain't that he don't have no legs; he haven't been having to use them like he thought. I think maturity in the sport. I think he learned how to do more damage with less movement. I think when he fight Canelo, he'll go back to the days when he was moving around a little bit more, like when he fought Postal. I think that's the smart fight against Canelo. And I think I don't like the fact of a small ring, but if you are elite level, and put it like this, if it come down, if Bud is clearly a better fighter than Canelo, then he can pull this off. He can pull this off. I'm sure he's a more complete fighter just because of the footwork. I don't know that he's just flat out. Canelo done fought a lot of good fighters and pretty much held his own. So it's hard to say, but I do think Bud is the more complete fighter. That's why I say you couldn't pay me to bet on this fight because I keep going back and forth. But I can't get over the fact that this would be Canelo's third fight within a year's time, and Crawford, it'll be his. It'll be over a year since his last fight. But that is his normal schedule over the last 5 years. But this ain't the normal opponent. That was the fight with Madrimov. That was a semi-test run, I think, because that was a bigger division. And I mean, the fight wasn't really close to me. I think people just were saying, you know, making a bunch of noise about it because they used to see him, Crawford get knockouts. But I felt like he won the fight easily. I thought Madrimov did a lot of moving that was unnecessary. I felt like Crawford clearly was ahead on points. I didn't think it was a close fight. I thought the only thing that was close about the fight is they went 12 rounds, but I thought Crawford clearly won that fight. So you know, uh, in my mind, that wasn't a close fight. It just was a bigger man, and a bigger man can take your punch better, which is why I say boxing is gonna have to be the way he win this fight against Canelo, because Canelo will take the punches even better than Madrimov did because he been had a good chin his entire career, but that don't mean Bud can't hit him where somewhere ain't nobody else caught him at, and shit, anybody can be knocked out. Anybody can be knocked out. So I'm not gonna say what nobody can or can't do. Oh shit, Bud just might knock him out. You never know. I'm not saying he will. I'm not. I don't know. I don't expect him to, but can't say that it can't happen. I don't care who you is. You getting hit. Bud he throw his punches, and he tend to land clean shots. I don't care who you is. You just can't take too many of them from no elite level fighter that got punching power. He may not be in. Bud has had punching power in every division he been in since he been boxing. So he may not be hitting like Benavidez or Kovalov or nobody, but I think he gonna be hitting hard enough where Canelo gonna know he can't just come up in there and just keep eating him like that either. I think he'll definitely be able to get his respect in there. So like I say, man, that's the one thing. that I really took a long hard thought about, and I was like, well, it wasn't even just that he was strong and that when he fought Earl Spence, he was clearly the better fighter that night. I mean, by the second round, it was pretty obvious uh, Earl was gonna have to get on the inside and work because uh, he, he was clearly out. He was in there with a guy that was a better boxer. Point. It ain't no other way to. You can. It is sometimes, like I say, it is what it is. It was clear after a certain point that Bud was a much better boxer, just flat out boxer. It was, you could see it. He was able to do a lot more things. He was able to punch off the back foot. He was able to move. He was able to, you know, uh, catch and shoot. I mean, he was all the way 100% complete. He a complete fighter. So with that ability that he have, and the fact that he can hit, that he could go left or right handed and be good either way. He, I say he got a good chance in that against Canelo. You know, I'm saying for me, because I know a lot of people bet on these fights. I can't tell you to bet on Crawford. I can't tell you to bet against, on Canelo. It's a good fight. Canelo should win, but Bud is a bad boy, and that's who I would like to see Bud win. But I can't bet on it because if I'm using my head, it would have to be Canelo, or if I was going by just the logical bet, but that don't mean the logical person gonna win. Crawford could be that much better than Canelo like he was Earl Spence. We don't know until they get in the ring, but if you sometimes when a guy's just completely a better fighter, once they get in the ring with a person, if it turn out to be like that shit, then Canelo ain't, he got power and all that, but he not the pit bull wild type dude that's just gonna chase you down like that. That ain't his style. So if Bud box and move, and if he able to box and move, if Canelo get down rounds, it's gonna be hard to catch up with. And Bud want to move and get on his legs, he'll be hard to catch up with. He'll be hard to catch up with. So I mean, I'm back and forth with this fight. I really am because when I think long and hard, I say yeah, Bud had a lot of advantage as far as circumstances in there with Earl Spence. But when you watch the two fighters and you be honest with what you saw with your own eyes, he looked like a better fighter. Bottom line, Bud looked like he just looked like the better fighter. I mean, it's simple as that. It ain't no, you can't you couldn't have watched that fight and saw nothing else. The better fighter don't always win, but more times than not they will. And I just saw he looked like the more complete fighter in that ring. And if that's the case again when he fight Canelo, then I mean, I don't know if it'll be the same outcome, but it's damn sure path to victory. If he get in there and he clearly just a better fighter, and he realized that, he'll be able to win that fight. He'll be able to win that fight then because it'll give him the confidence to be able to do what he got to do to win the fight. As long as if he get in there and see, oh no, okay, Canelo good, but I really am. Everybody gonna think you better than somebody, but if you get in the ring and realize that you are, anything can happen. That is the biggest part for me. That's the biggest chance I see that he have. Is he that much better of just a is he really just a better all around, not as far as size or power, but is he just a better and more complete fighter than Canelo? We have to, that could be the deciding factor. Now I can't say that he is ain't. Canelo got a great trainer, just like Crawford does. They've been together for a long time, just like Bud Bomac. And I've seen Canelo get in there with some good fighters. And when I've seen him get in, I've seen him go in there with Floyd and lose. So I mean, I saw him lose to Bivol, but these wasn't no slouches he lost to. I mean, wasn't no shame in either one of them losses. And I think both of them better than everybody Bud ever fought. I don't think Bud fought nobody better than Floyd or Bivol. And shit, who'd say if he is better than Floyd or Bud is? So like I say, man, if Bud go in there and he clearly the better fighter like he was the night that he fought Earl Spence, then he can pull off the big upset. But if he if they just even, like if they just like on the same, just two good fighters on the same level, the bigger, stronger man is probably gonna win. So we gonna see, man. That's a tough fight to try to handicap. To be honest with you, I mean, especially if you're trying to be sensible about it. Because yeah, everything in your mind, in your head, Vegas very rarely get them big fights wrong. They got Canelo the favorite. That's the way it should be. But if Crawford is just clearly a better fighter than him, all that could be out the window. And Bud was the favorite against Earl Spence. Like I say, these circumstances is completely different than the circumstances when he fought Earl Spence, which is why if he win this fight, shit, he gonna be right up there with the greatest of the greats, and rightfully so. I mean, you couldn't take that from him at that point. If he pulled this off with Canelo, you cannot not put him up there with all the best in the game. There ain't no way you can deny him at that point. It wouldn't be no way. Especially him coming up from all these different divisions, from 135, 140, 147, from 147 to 168. That's a hell of a jump. Tommy Hearns did it before, so it ain't like it ain't never been done. But it's been a while, and it ain't like he going in there with no cherry. This Canelo, he going in there with a real 100% complete fighter, just like he is. That's not maybe not as tall as him, but Canelo used to fighting dudes bigger than him with bigger reach. I mean, he used to that. Now, is he used to fighting guys that's gonna probably be as fast as Terrence Crawford? That could be another factor if Bud is a whole lot faster and able to lay lay them flurries in and get on out of there and really box like that for 12 rounds. If he can do that, like I said, I can see ways that he can get the win. I don't like them trying to, like I say, change the goalpost up and making the ring get shorter and all that. And I think that'll be wrong if they do that after the fight already been signed, sealed, and delivered. I feel like that's some that's kind of dirty. That'll be that's almost like a setup move. So I hope they don't mess with their ring and let them have, because I really feel like Bud in this fight need a decent sized ring to move around. He don't need to be where every time he takes a couple step back his a couple steps backwards, his back on the ropes. He need to have room to maneuver in there with that big monster. So that ain't gonna be no easy fight. And if he make that look easy, shit, I mean, you have to put him up there with the top of the top. Then I mean, no, it wouldn't be no denying that. I don't, I, Shane might know what he's talking about, but his legs look fine to me. Shit, Crawford legs look 100% fine. I don't know what the hell Shane talking about. But then again, Shane a fighter. Maybe he saw something that us as fans missed. But from where I'm looking at, shit, them legs is why I think he might have a chance. Shit, I think the man squatting about 500 pounds. Shit, that's for somebody his size. That's a lot of money. I think they said 500 or 600 pounds. That man got some, shit. Ain't nothing wrong with them legs. He got a good set of legs and a good set of feet on him. And that could be the difference in this. That's why I say, man, you know, I don't want don't if anybody who take my advice on the fight, this particular one right here, I wouldn't touch with a 10 foot pole. I just not as far as no money. Yeah, Canelo should win, but it's a good possibility Bud can go in there and if he a way better fighter, you know, it'll take in about 2 rounds. That'll be obvious if it's a separation on the scale, and if that's the case, he had 2 or 3 different ways he can go about winning that fight. But all that stuff you won't find. Even he won't know that until they get in the ring. They ain't never sparred or nothing like that, so he don't really know nothing. Neither one of from where Canelo's sitting at. I had to agree with him when he said that's somewhat of an easy fight for him. It should be, as far as a smaller guy coming up into a division. You definitely ain't gotta worry about what you have to worry about with a regular 168 pounder. But depending on how Bud if Bud can be youthful for one more night and move like he did 7, 8 years ago, uh, this shit could get real interesting. Like I said, Canelo should win this fight, but that don't mean he will. It don't mean he will. This it's gonna be a good one, man. I was seriously thinking about what if Bud just a much better boxer like he was against Earl Spence. That is a possibility. But that's it for me on this video. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Till next time, it's your boy Spill Dog. I'm out.